everybody. Welcome back to Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. Of course, the Terrebonne Parish Council will be meeting again on Wednesday. Always here to preview what's going to go on is John Amity, the chairman of the Terrebonne Parish Council, District 4. So, John, thanks so much for being with us. It never slows down for you guys, right? Although, this is a new, I guess you're still in the honeymoon phase of a new group of people coming together.
We are, new administration, of course, and some changes in there, and then we have some new council members. So we're still finding our way and going through some things. I just want to make note, we normally have the meetings on Wednesday, but due to the police jury conference, some of the members wanted to go, so I moved the meeting back to Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't want to run the risk of there not being a quorum to be able to conduct business, so we want to make sure that we take care of the parish.
Police jury, yeah, we hadn't used that term in a while around here, huh?
Believe it or not, there's still a lot of police juries in the state of Louisiana. They operate different than what we do. Sometimes the residents remember the old police jury and they think that we still operate that way. Right. But no, we're more in line with what people think of as government with executive, legislative branch.
Sure. My uncle Vernon Bourgeois was a member for a long time. He said that's all people want is shells. I only want shells.
I was going to say something, but I chose not to. I was going to say, police jury, they think about, shells on their driveway.
No doubt. Times have changed. Hey, look, some things that don't change. It's almost 3 years now, Hurricane Ida, but we're still talking about the Resilience Community Infrastructure Program. And I guess our parish qualified for $117 million. We got the first, 41? And so you guys are deciding where these things will go through committee, right?
So what we did is we applied, we've got an application in with a list of projects. These projects have to meet specific guidelines. A lot of people are asking us, well, why can't you use that for housing? Well, because the guidelines that they've set forth is for more type of infrastructure and economic development. There's other CBDG monies for housing that you can use for those projects. So we put in that first application. We're now discussing projects and getting set to put in that second application. Once those are reviewed, the projects are approved, then it's going to all become one big project. And I tell you, talk about staying busy. They give a deadline on when these things have to be completed in 2028, I believe. It's like we'll be running full speed ahead.
So can you give us an update on that first 41 million, some of the projects that are going to go into that?
Absolutely.
Then we'll talk about the other ones.
Absolutely. And this is, a perfect example of infrastructure. We have the pump stations that we've built on Bayou Black that help drain out the Chacahula Basin. That basin drains a big portion all the way down 311 from Thibodaux all the way down 311 into town. And the report said, told us that we need 3,000 CFS of pumping in order to achieve what we wanted to achieve. So the 2,000 are already built. Geraldine Pump Station's another one. The interesting thing about that is if we get that $3.5 million approved, and then we have other federal dollars coming in for the construction of it, it's not going to take any money out of the local taxpayers' budgets. We're going to be actually retrieving some of our money that goes to Washington. So we're able to get that built with all those dollars, and we don't have to hurt our budget in order to be able to do that. Downtown, a lot of people look at the old post office, and they say, what's going to ever happen with that? Well, we've offered to purchase that, do a little amphitheater and a museum. President Bergeron would like to do a children's museum. I think that would be great for that area. Of course, Finding Our Roots Museum. A lot of people don't really know what that's all about. I encourage everybody, go take a look at that. It's a very important thing. Some other things, a small business incubator, avionic program with Fletcher, and then some support for the seafood industry. We also have some alternates in case those projects don't get approved, jail relocation, and some small business grants to help out small businesses.
So that's all coming out of the first 41 million.
So that's what was proposed in the first 41 million. Now we're taking a look at the next. Basically 76 million, although we're proposing more than that because you never know what's going to be approved, what won't be. And we also, one thing to point out is you can see this information on TPC psg.org/recovery. You'll see the PowerPoint slides there, and you see the dollar amounts. Well, these are high estimates. We want to make sure that we cover
Right.
and be able to do these things. So the dollar amounts may change when they're approved, and we might be able to work in some more things.
And we've heard of inflation here in the last couple of years.
Tell me about it.
No time. But actually, so the other almost $80 million, you're still getting input. You guys are deciding on some projects, but
we're still getting input. We have one more outreach into the public, a public hearing on it that we really encourage the citizens to come out and speak their piece, because we're listening to what they want. We're listening to the department heads in the parish and other groups to see, how they think this money should be spent. So at the North Branch Library, right across from H.O. Bourgeois, on March the 6th at 5:30.
Wednesday.
Yes, it's a Wednesday.
next Wednesday.
5:30. You can come out. We've done a couple of them. They had one down in Chauvin. We figured we'd do one up toward the northern end of the parish so that those people can come. And I think the survey is actually still up at that same website that people can go online and make some recommendations. If nothing else,
But again,
contact your council member and say, hey, tell them to add this.
these are infrastructure bills too, and we were kind of talking about that. Infrastructure, a lot of times, like the water plant, it's in Schriever, but it supplies water to the whole parish. So
Right.
sometimes just because they're not in my district, that can change things.
And
So,
Harry,
Yeah,
that's been
look-
some of the conversation.
yeah, let's take a break, and when
Sure.
we come back, we'll also talk about the an update on the FEMA flood map. We'll be right back, right here on Bayou Time.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. Alford and Associates, for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality. Terrebonne General Health Systems, modern technology and timeless caring. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bourke, know your rights.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. John Amity is District 4 and also the chairman of Terrebonne Parish Council is with us. And we're going over a few things. Let's finish with some of the projects you guys are looking at on the infrastructure
Sure.
from
So
IDA, and before we get into the flood map.
Yeah, in the next application, of course, any of those alternates that didn't make it in the first cut, we're going to include in the second cut. But we're also looking at some wastewater projects, storm water projects. One of the things they have is a parish weather station, parish-wide weather stations. I know I've done some projects that are, say, the levees are a mile long, and I take readings on both ends, and I might get a half an inch of rain on one and no rain on the other. Of course, we have some more pump stations involved in that, doing some things for our emergency operations center, doing some additions, because when we have those storms, a lot of people gather there and they bunker in there. Also a helicopter pad for there. The state police, will grace us with using their pad, but it'd be nothing like having something there. For the residents, some of the things they talked about were more community centers in the local areas. You get out into some of the rural areas, they can use community centers so that they have places that they can go and get some different types of recreation. Looking at our Head Start programs, roundabouts, some of the critical areas, roundabouts. I went through Youngsville just recently coming back from a meeting, and it just the traffic flows
Never
so
stops.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are always good. And of course, I'd mentioned the seafood, maybe a phase 2 of helping out the seafood industry. So it's an extensive list. people think 117 million, it's a lot of stuff. We appreciate it. We definitely want it, but it's a drop in the bucket
goes
for what
fast.
we're trying to do. Absolutely.
And again, that infrastructure is from recovery, resilience recovery from Ida. This is not like the infrastructure bill that was passed.
No, totally separate
Right,
from
right.
that. This is something just focused on disadvantaged communities, and fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, the whole of Terrebonne Parish encompasses that.
I got you. So that's a good start. Now, another thing we're looking at is the FEMA flood maps, the risk rating 2.0.
Right.
We also have a lawsuit that Liz Murrell, the new Attorney General, is now still in the middle of. The judge still hadn't come back to say whether we can sue FEMA or not. So all of that's going together. And it's all, some of them are separate, some of them are not the same. So
And a lot of times,
Maps is what you're
it's
talking
easy to confuse the two. And like you were saying, the Attorney General has started this suit, and what Jeff Landry did when he was in there was file for this injunction to hold the rates where they were until this secret formula
Right.
of how they're charging us would carry out. So I checked with my people in the Attorney General's office to get any idea. We've been waiting on the judge to give a ruling on that, and then the judge has not ruled on it yet, but fortunately he'll do so. But the second part of that, which people are concerned about, is the maps, the actual flood maps. As we were talking earlier, a lot of people who were never in flood zones are now finding themselves in flood zones. So I just want to let the people know that we're still working on that. There's still a big task that's happening. So we have an engineering firm that has gone through, studied all of FEMA's data. They've requested everything. They've studied all that information. They found some discrepancies. It's done in panels. So if you look at the parish, there's a bunch of panels listed out. And they've identified a couple of panels that they're using as the tests for this, because they have to build a template that FEMA's going to accept. You have to be able to speak the same language. So we may call things one thing, they may call it another. And from that template, then they'll be able to put all that information in there, and that supports the application going over to FEMA. Once that information goes in, then it goes through FEMA's process of review, which, if I remember right, takes about 90 days for them to review the application. And then from there, it goes to a ruling, which I think they're saying could be sometime in 2025. So they've got all the data reviewed. They're putting together the strategy and the map. They were supposed to have a meeting last week. I didn't get any word on how that meeting went with FEMA. But, the biggest thing is I want to let the people know you can do this on your own. You can go. There's a few people in Terrebonne Parish who's already filed for a map revision or a map adjustment, and they won. So you can do it, but as a parish, we felt it was our responsibility to cover the whole parish.
Sure.
And that's what we're doing. It's just taking a while. It's a process, and we just ask people to be patient. We are finding some things, and hopefully it'll be a good result in the end.
Yeah, because risk rating 2.0, it had all kind of criteria, which eventually one of them was going to get you, whether you'd flooded before, whether it's now, you're close to water. It's like, well, everybody in Louisiana's close to water, right? Every road that we ride on is close
with
to
Louisiana
water.
Subsiding,
Right. So
we're all getting closer to it.
everything, they seem like they gathered everybody after some of the stipulations.
Yeah, so we're continuing on, and I'm sure that Mr. Pulaski or President Bergeron is going to come on and give a more detailed thing. But I just wanted to let the people know that something is happening, even though they're not seeing it. The work is underway and it's progressing.
Okay. So so that's a good update. So the meeting's not on Wednesday; it's next Tuesday.
This Tuesday.
This
tonight.
Tuesday. It's like not tonight, but next Tuesday. I got you.
Gotcha.
Okay. So that'll be there. And again, if you want to do more with the infrastructure, the North Branch Library on March 6th.
At 5:30.
5:30. We appreciate it, John. Thanks for coming by.
Yep. Thank you, Harry.
We'll be right back with more Bite Time right after this.